Ma'am, do you have like 5 minutes for a quick chat? Okay. This guy looks interesting. Hey man. Dude, do you have like 5 minutes for a quick chat?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Can I live stream you and record you?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Fine.
Thank you. Thanks for stopping, dude.
Yeah,
I'm Anthony.
Jamil.
Jamil.
Yeah.
Can I get the spelling of that?
Yeah, Jamil.
Jamil.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. What I'm doing, Jamil, is just chatting with anybody randomly to see if they hold any God beliefs and why.
Okay.
Is there a particular God that you believe in? And are you comfortable spending like 5 minutes just to examine why you hold the belief?
Yeah, well, my parents are actually conflicting religions. My dad practices Islam and my mom practices Catholicism. So when I was younger, my mom wanted me to go to a Catholic school, for elementary school, for primary school. And my dad actually agreed. But some things happened, like with the initial schooling, so I ended up not going. That's our friend. And ended up not going, but my mom, would try to teach me Christian beliefs. We did Christmas, we did all that stuff. We did Easter, we celebrated Easter, but at the same time, my dad was, he wanted me to pray with him, the 3 times a day, the normal.
Did you ever do the fasting?
Yeah, he wanted me. I did fasting with him when I was younger.
Really?
And all that, but as I got older, because they kept both pushing different, conflicting ideas and religions in me, made it really hard for me to choose. So I still, I do believe in God. It's just when it comes to a certain religion or, I guess focus, I'm still, confused about that myself because my dad was, having me read the Quran at the same time my mom was having me read the Bible, and they both knew that they were doing it at the same time. So I have a brother. He's going through the same thing. So
do you think that they had any idea that after exposing you to both religions that you would identify as neither one?
I think that they were both hoping that me and my brother would either identify as either or. My dad, saying, "Oh, I'm the man," and Islam, you have to follow the husband.
Are you the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. So I think they both kind of wanted us to identify as either or, but
do they know that you don't follow either or?
We haven't really talked about it, but I think that they know that me and my brother, we don't really follow either or, because my dad still asks us, do we read the Quran regularly? And sometimes we tell him yes, sometimes we tell him no. He's like, he knows we don't pray anymore now that we're older. I mean, we go to church sometimes with our mom, not very frequently, because my dad, he doesn't really like it when we go. So they know we don't really follow one. Yeah. But they're all, I know both of them are hoping that we pick.
Do you think if you grew up in a family where both parents were Catholic, would you be Catholic?
I think I would be, yes.
If both parents were Muslims, would you be following Islam?
Yeah, because how it worked when I was growing up, they knew that my dad would know I was learning Catholicism, so he would show me the contradicting ideas and then the similar ideas. So I grew up, me and my brother, we grew up understanding the differences and the similarities between both religions, and because of that, I know, it kind of makes more sense to me having to learn two at the same time, rather than one person learning Catholicism and then hating Muslims and not knowing anything about the religion at all. So I think I do support both. You know what I mean? I see the views in both of them, and I do agree with both of them. So
you agree with both of them?
Yeah.
Do you think that both are correct?
That's where I'm having the struggle picking, or it's hard to tell, because they have very similar ideas at the same time, but they have very contradicting ideas, and but in both sense they make sense to different people. So if I grew up in a house for Catholicism, I would have practiced without a doubt, and then if Islam, probably the same thing. But doing both, it's very hard, which is why me and my brother, we didn't really, or haven't really picked one yet.
Sure.
As of now.
Yet you're here today, even though you've had that, and you've outlined that beautifully, by the way.
Thank you.
Yet you're holding on to a God belief still. Does this God have a name, or is it more of a nebulous God, or like?
It's more just like, I guess, a nebulous God.
Okay. How sure are you that God exists? If 0% is I'm not confident at all, it's all doubt. 100% is all confidence and no doubt. and you could be anywhere on the
I'm
scale.
100% that he's there. Yeah.
How do you know?
It's really hard to tell. My mom has a lot of stories, where she thinks she's, had God influence in her life. Little stories. She'll be crossing like an alleyway, and there's like two like really scary pit bulls that are notorious for attacking people. And then she said that there was a time when it was like in the middle of the night, and she was walking home through this alley, and like they're notorious for jumping over the fence. She grew up in the Philippines, so they're notorious for jumping over the fence and attacking people. And it was in the middle of the night, and they were barking. And she said that a dog showed up, walked her through the alley, and the dogs didn't bark at her that night. And then when she like looked down again, it was gone. And I've had, a few experiences where there was this girl that I met, on a computer game, hadn't talked to in about like 4 years. In a computer game, online, you don't talk to someone for 4 years, you're never gonna find them. It so happened that I actually ran into her on a separate forum on something else, because it was weird, because the day before actually I prayed to God. I was like, I really missed her. I got along with her. I really missed her, and I was like, somehow, some way, I'd like to talk to her again. And I ran into her. I actually ran into her again after like 4 years of not seeing her. So
I see.
I do believe in God. I believe He's there.
Do you believe in the God because you think prayer works? Because when you prayed for them, you found this long lost friend, and then when your mother said she reached out to her God, suddenly this dog protected her?
Yeah, it's that, and then I still believe all this stuff had to come in from somewhere. It's not like it just started. Someone had to do something. So
can we focus on the prayer just maybe a little bit more?
The prayer, yeah.
It sounds like what you're saying, and if I'm off, please correct me. But are you saying that one of the reasons why you're 100% sure that your God exists is because you feel that prayer is working when you pray for something?
Yes, but I've noticed that it works really weird, because I've prayed for stuff before and it doesn't happen, but when I guess I've noticed when I have a lot more feeling, because like when I prayed for the girl the one time, I did cry a little, I mean, not like cry, I didn't sob, but I did tear up, because I missed her.
Sure.
And it happened, but then, I'll pray for like something else, like, I don't know, I'm just gonna make this up, like, I'll do well on a test, and I end up not doing well on the test, but I mean, that was my fault. I could have studied more. Okay. But, with the girl, like, I couldn't, there was nothing I could do possibly to, and I really want to see it, so.
Why is prayer weird though, if...
Because people, they pray for something. I always hear people talking about they pray for something, and then it doesn't happen, and they're like, oh, He's not listening and all this. But He is, I think that He is listening. It's just He picks and chooses the right prayers to, actually help on. And other times, like, He's helping you just don't realize it. Like if someone asks for money, He's not gonna just, put $100 on the floor. He'll, someone will come up to you and be like, I have a job opportunity for you.
Sometimes prayer works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, it really depends on like what you're praying for. Really.
Okay. You could pray for something and it wouldn't happen, but you wouldn't look at it as the God not existing.
Yeah.
You would just say, "Well, what would your response be?"
It was more of like I guess I don't want to say like a selfish prayer, but it was a prayer where if I didn't pray, or if I didn't, pray for it, there was something I could have done personally in my power to have, fixed the outcome myself.
Why would you pray at all then?
That I guess comfort. It helped me, knowing that I was able to talk to someone, ask someone for help, even if I didn't get the help. I still.
If a belief gives you comfort or an action gives you comfort, does it always mean that what you're asking for or who you're asking exists, or it's true, or it's real?
I guess to me, personally, I guess it would. If it did give me comfort, if I did think it was working, then yeah, it would be, there would be faith. I would believe in it. But I could see how to other people, if it wasn't doing anything, if it was just providing comfort, then it wouldn't be. But I mean,
but are you saying? But there are times where you'll pray for something, you don't get it.
Yeah.
But you still pray because you feel like it gives you a sense of comfort.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we can test prayer to determine that it really works in the way that you have outlined?
I don't know. honestly. It's one of those things you know. It's a really hard question. I don't think you can test prayer. There might be someone with a much more diverse mind than I who could come up with a test for prayer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. But in my with the knowledge I have, I honestly don't think that's the thing you could test for.
You know what, Jamil? If prayer can't be tested, and prayer is one of the main reasons why you're at the 100%, but it can't be tested, is 100% the right spot to be on the confidence that the belief is true?
I guess not. It probably wouldn't be. Probably not 100%, but I mean, there are other little factors that I don't really know about, but I just to myself I feel like I don't know if it was all the
If there are other factors that you don't know, wouldn't that lend you more towards moving down on the scale than being?
Well, I mean, like more factors, as in like the fact that my parents like taught me maybe all the things that I learned. I just have this unconscious feeling that I do 100% believe, even though I can't put a pin on the fact like exactly what it is that makes me believe 100%.
If prayer can't be tested adequately, at least not in a way that we can identify, and you recognize that maybe 100% isn't the right spot to be, what would be a more honest position to be at on the belief scale?
More honest. Probably sit myself at maybe 60%.
Thank you very much for your time. Can I give you a card?
Yeah, I'll take a card.
Have a great day.
Thank you.